This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
This is a story where you may or may not fall on the side of the law, and that is fairly understandable. Danyale Harris enraged after viewing a video of a 22-year-old man sexually abusing her 12-year-old daughter, resolved to exact revenge by gathering a group of people to confront the suspect in his residence, Georgia authorities said. According to authorities, Harris found a video of her then 12-year-old daughter involved in a sex act with a 22-year-old Antonio Harley on March 31st, 2020. The next day, she allegedly reported her discovery to authorities and was cautioned not to let her anger get the best of her and not to try to exact revenge, authorities said, so they would contact Harris during the inquiry. During the ensuing shootout, one of the men that Harris brought with her was killed. Harris, 42, faces a possibility of spending the rest of her life in prison. A judge in DeKalb County convicted Harris of felony murder, aggravated assault, conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm while committing a felony, according to District Attorney Sherry Boston in a press conference that was reissued recently. The chain of events began on March 31st, 2020, when Harris discovered that video of her daughter having sex with a man identified as Antonio Harley. According to investigators, Harris reported the footage to the DeKalb County Police Department. The next day, officers said they would investigate and get back to her. Instead, Harris is accused of trying to take the law into her own hands. Several hours later, Harris drove a group to the apartment complex to confront Harley. According to a press release by the DeKalb County District Attorney, Harris asked her daughter to point out Harley's apartment. Around 1 p.m. on April 1st, 2020, Harris, armed with pistols, knocked on the apartment door while her cohorts stood behind her. Harley did not open the door, but walked around the side of the flat to see who was inside. Harris and the rest of the group chased Harley, who entered the apartment through the rear door. As soon as Harley closed the door, someone in Harris's group opened fire, wounding him in the chest. According to prosecutors and according to authorities, Harley's brother responded by firing back in order to protect their 5 younger siblings who were also present in the residence. The gunfire struck Juan Newkirk, a 19-year-old member of Harris's crew. Newkirk died. Harley, now 26, survived the shooting and faces charges of statutory rape, child abuse, and sexual exploitation of a child. His lawsuit is currently pending. Prosecutors said 2 other people were charged in the gunfight and are awaiting trial. Harris was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole plus 5 years. Yeah, I mean, it's horrible because you had another innocent person that lost their life in this, that was there trying to defend the child that was abused. So probably, it's not always going to necessarily turn out how you envision it in being the equalizer and going in and taking care of these folks. Things can go awry pretty quick. But I would say if I found out something like that, I don't know that I would take a group of people, but I may end up in prison because I killed somebody. If I found out my child had been harmed in that sort of way and that person's just out there and nothing's happening, I would likely take justice into my own hands as well.
I can't imagine what the outrage and anger she felt when she saw this video. Mm-hmm. Her child's 12. This guy's 22.
Yeah. Might beat the shit out of the person and cut off their body parts so they can't ever do it again. And then let them live the rest of their life. But make sure you put that like in the blender right when you're there so it can't be reattached. Now, that's a little sadistic and evil, but hey, if it happens to your kid, I think all rules are off.
I mean, I totally get the anger, but there's some things about this that obviously weren't well thought out. But the problems that I have is she took her daughter with her to point out the apartment.
And that's,
so her daughter, the 12-year-old daughter was with her.
Yeah.
And this person was killed. And then inside the apartment were 5 other children. So the uncle, this guy's brother, is shooting back because he's protecting the 5 kids in the house.
Yeah. And he may
any one of those 5 kids could have died. Her child, I don't know if her child walked up to the door of the apartment, maybe stayed in the car, but her daughter was a witness to this horrific shootout. Now Her mom's in prison for the rest of
Yeah, it wasn't really thought out very well, now was it? Not a lot of strategy involved to make sure that you are still safe and you can take care of your child and then be able to walk away from that. Again, not very well thought out at all.
But I understand the outrage. I do understand the anger.
yeah.
I don't know how I would deal with that. That would be so horrific.
Yeah.
But these kids, these 5 children in the house could have died. And she didn't know.
She didn't,
had
but
no
that's why
idea.
you can't go and just do that either.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I think I would probably try and let law enforcement do their thing. But if they failed and if nothing ever came about it and there was like, I don't know. I mean, they've got video evidence that's pretty damning right there.
They would have. He
would have gone away. If it was just like a he said, she said thing and nothing happened, I think I'd be more prone to go and take justice into my own hands. But on this thing, you'd pull him down pretty quick. And yeah, it'd be really tough. I've never been in that situation. I pray to God I never am. But yeah, as a parent, if you're very protective of your kids, there's not a lot you wouldn't do to someone if they did that to your kid.
Yeah.
And it would be very hard to hold
This
back.
wasn't right.
No.
This wasn't right.
No. I mean, it's a good thing it
With
didn't.
the video evidence, he'd have been convicted.
One would hope. One would hope. I mean, hell, there were, but you know, it's our justice system. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Fuck. There was a video of R. Kelly fucking a 14-year-old in front of his Soul Train Awards. And he still got off on that. And he was free for another 20 years and made a bunch more hits. You know, now he's finally in prison, hopefully for the rest of his life. But that was video evidence too.
Yeah, true.
So it's, you never really know how the dice are going to fall on this sort of stuff. But I can feel that. I can understand the frustration of the parents, of the mom, and her knee-jerk reaction to what happened. But obviously, it didn't work out well. So it's a good thing to take a breath sometimes. But certainly have the mission that justice needs to be served. However, she was the one who wanted to serve it, which I get.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
Until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.